My dear friends, this book, Text Messages, a Torah Commentary for Teens, not a bestseller. But when Reform Rabbi and scholar Jeff Salkin asked me to contribute a chapter on this week's Torah portion, I couldn't refuse, especially since I quote Rabbi Salkin and his blog often. The name of his blog is Martini Judaism for Jews who like to be shaken and stirred. I find it beshert, as we begin tonight's sermon in song, that I wrote this when our new cantorial soloist, the year she left Memphis as a teen, before launching her international Jewish music journey, bringing her back to Memphis. This week's Sedra Ekev, as I try to express in this collection of Torah commentaries, is so focused on an attitude of gratitude that we are commanded to thank God not only when we're hungry and about to eat, but also when we're satisfied and full after we have eaten. Perhaps the best summation of Judaism in one sentence related to this week's Torah portion was given to me not by this book, but by a temple past president who defined Judaism in one sentence this way: always strive to do the right thing and be grateful for everything. Happy, would you please share music which expresses this notion from the Parsha of V'achalta v'savata u'verachtat Adonai Elohecha, feeling satisfied, content, thankful, and grateful.
Yes, when you say those words, gratitude and being thankful, my mind went to the words from our liturgy, Modim Anachnu La. So this is Modim Anachnu La. Modim Anachnu Lach She'ata Hu Adonai Eloheinu Le'Elohei Avoteinu Ve'imoteinu Le'olam va'ed Tzur Chayenu Magen Yishenu Atahu Letor Vador. Thank you, Rock of Creation, for my generation and all that's to come. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Modim Anachnu Lach She'ata Hu Adonai Eloheinu. Thank you, Rock of Salvation, for my generation and all that's to come. Please bring peace to every nation, for all generations will praise you as one, for all generations will praise you as one.
Full disclosure, there's a context to this gratitude talk Moses is giving the people as he's about to die. He wants to make sure the children of Israel will be grateful entering the land of Israel. Why this land of Israel? What's so special about the land? One word: precipitation. As our commentator shares, in Egypt, there was always enough water. Came from the Nile River. Egyptians watered their crops through the irrigation systems they built. People had to do it. In the land of Israel, it's different. You were dependent on rain. It's a spiritual idea. We Jews love the land of Israel, but we're admittedly biased, as Rabbi Simons alluded to in his opening remarks tonight with regard to why a synagogue. You know, Jerusalem's a beautiful city, but to be honest, Rabbi Salkin writes, there are many beautiful cities in the world. Tel Aviv is a cool place, but it's not Paris. The beaches of Israel, they're great, but compared to, say, the beaches of Brazil or Costa Rica, not so much. Natural resources, we read this week, we're going to get rocks, but no oil. Food, it says we're going to get wheat and barley, vines, figs, pomegranates, olive trees, and honey. That's great if you're a vegetarian. The Torah is going to record many famines in the land of Israel, all of which Abraham, Jacob, and Ruth experienced. Living in rain-dependent Israel teaches dependency on spiritual ideas, the elements, God, finding light in the darkness. Sometimes we may be thirsty and hungry. Sometimes we fear darkness and drought in the desert, but the nourishment of faith makes us stronger. That's what Israel represents more than geography. Happy, sing us a song that says that better than these words.
There's a light, there's a light in the darkness, and the black of the night cannot harm us. We can trust not to fear, for our comfort is near. There's a light in the darkness. It will rain in the desert, in the cracks of the plain. There's a treasure, like the thrust of the seed. We'll await, we believe. It will rain in the desert. There's a light in the darkness.
Thank you. Tonight we celebrate this new team with Happy, Rabbi Simons, Rabbi Wolner. I'm so proud to be not only a part of this team, but a link in this congregation going back to the 1800s with temple relatives of Isaac Mayer Wise, who founded the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion, where all your rabbis were ordained, and in this congregation where Happy grew up. This week, the president of Hebrew Union College, Andrew Rayfeld, honed in on another verse I'm hoping you can put to music the theme of it. Here's what it says. You too, children of Israel, must befriend the stranger, for you were all strangers in the land of Egypt. This is an essential teaching that lies at the heart of prophetic Judaism, that we must reach out to others in friendship and solidarity because of our people's own traumatic history of slavery, persecution, discrimination. Listen to this. He says, Happy, we must transform our memory of suffering into empathetic engagement to channel our legacy of exclusion into a force for justice for others. And this teaching could not be more apt right now when we're grappling with the dual plagues of a global pandemic and endemic racism in our nation. And what President Rayfeld says, rather than invoking passivity or defensiveness, the Torah this week in Ekev exerts a call to action. It's not enough to feel, care, worry, regret. We have to take a stand, Moses says. Do the right thing, right the wrongs, make a difference actively, and help heal this broken world. Happy, you mentioned in passing at our retreat as clergy that the composer who runs the Reform Movement's music at biennials, Josh Nelson, wrote a song that resonates. When I quoted you that Torah verse just before the service, would you share? I don't know the song.
You want me to play it? Yeah, it's one and only.
That's what it's called.
That's what it's called. Yeah.
Great. Well, bring it to life.
Open up your heart to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only. Before our one and only. If your love is my love and my love is everything, aren't we all part of one love? So let your love be my love and our love be everything. Oh, we'll all know we're all part of one love. So open up your heart to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only. Before our one and only. If your world is my world and my world is everything, aren't we all part of one world? So let your world be my world and our world be everything. Oh, we'll all know we're all part of one world. So open up your heart to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only. Before our one and only. Before our one and only. Before our one and only.
Finally, in this week's prophetic Haftorah portion, the prophet Isaiah, Happie, speaks to our people living in exile in Babylon. They're feeling depressed, dejected, down, like many during COVID. Oppression has taken its toll this week in our Haftorah. Has God totally abandoned us? No, Isaiah tells them. He tells them that these awful times will end, and they're going to be able to return home. And with only 6 weeks before your rabbis and Cantor and you hopefully sing Avinu Malkeinu on Rosh Hashanah, which imagines God as our Father, our King, this week, Isaiah speaks of God of Israel as a mom, or more precisely, as a mother who will never abandon her children, a God who, like a great parent, is always there. If you could sing one more for us.
If I turned away, would you wait for me? If I sometimes strayed, would you set me free? If I were to doubt you, would you still believe in me? And if I saw the truth, would you somehow help me see? My heart's filled with questions that my head can't answer. Still with my reservations, I find you're always there. When I'm tiptoeing backwards like a faithless dancer, without hesitation, I find you're always there. Ooh. If I spoke to you, would you try to hear secrets lost inside of me? All my deepest fears. My heart's filled with questions that my head can't answer. Still with my reservations, I find you're always there. When I'm tiptoeing backwards like a faithless dancer, without reservation, I find you're always there. Ooh. My heart's filled with questions that my head can't answer. Still with my reservations, I find you're always there. When I'm tiptoeing backward like a faithless dancer, without hesitation, I find you're